So far so good. We have been running the Python code in interactive mode. Interactive mode means we have been running it in the terminal, which means that you interact with Python directly with the interpreter. When you are just typing and the interpreter is giving you what you want immediately, like as we have in our prompt here. If I should type Python, then this should activate Python interpreter for me. So as you can see, I've been interacting with the interpreter directly here because this is the interpreter prompt, but I can exist out of that by using the exist keyword, exit, and I'm out of the Python interpreter. But I don't want to do this. I want to work with Python in uh, in a script mode. So interactive mode is a good way to get started, but if you are working with more than a few line of code, it can be clumsy. Yes, as you see it here, it only does something what that we want it to do, and it return whatever value we are expecting. But it says alternative is to save code in file that we can name anything. Let's say for instance we named our first file script, and then run the interpreter in script mode to execute the script. So by convention, Python scripts have names that end with .py. The same thing applicable to variable names. We can also apply it to naming our Python script. We can name Python scripts starting with lowercase and other law guiding the Python variable, but it has to end with the extension .py, because this .py will be informing the system that this is a Python script which can be run using the Python interpreter. So if you know how to create this and run the script in the interpreter, you are ready to go. But I will be taking us through that, and if you can't, just continue to use Python anywhere, which the link has been provided. Because Python provide both mode. You can test bits of code in interactive mode before you put them in a script, such as maybe you are trying to get the value, the data type of, let's say, a number which you're expecting it to be an integer, but it is a float. So you just trying to confirm what it is before you put it code actually in script. So you can do that. But the difference here between interactive mode and script mode is that it can be confusing. For example, if you are using Python as a calculator, you might type mile. As you can see, this three angle bracket means this is the Python interpreter. You are interacting with it directly, which means interactive mode. Mouse is equal to this. Then we also have mouse multiplied by this. Saying this will return this immediately because I'm just giving it a statement, and statements are being interpreted immediately after the statement is complete by typing the enter key. So the first line assign the value to mouse, which does nothing, it has no visible effect. But the second line is an expression, so the interpreter evaluates it and displays the result immediately, which means that a marathon is about 42 kilometers. But if I type this code in a script and run it, I will get no output. Why is that? I'm not instructing Python to output this. If I need anything to be output to the screen, I'd rather use the print function. So it won't output at all. In script mode, an expression all by itself has no visible effect. You won't see it. But this variable will be there, and this variable will be updated by saying, okay, mouse should now be what? Multiplied by 1.61. So in script mode, an expression all by itself has no visible effect. Python actually evaluates the expression, but it doesn't display the value unless you tell it to do so. So let's look at some example. If I have this in my Python script, mouse is equal to 26.2, and I also have my print statement, which is mouse multiplied by 1.61. This behavior can be confusing at first, yes, but what I'm just trying to do here is assigning the value 26.2 to mouse variable, then outputting it using the print function. So a script usually contains a sequence of statements. If there is more than one statement, the result appear one at a time as the statement executes. Like I said in the first video, Python executes our code line by line because it uses an interpreter, not a compiler like other programming. So, for example, if in the script I have print 1, then I say x is equal to 2, and I say print x, it will produce the output 1 and 2. Let's look at what that is in our code here. So I already have a, a folder in my desktop. I have the folder Python program. Then in that Python program folder, I have a script which I name script.py. All I have in this script is just print hello world, but I type enter, it does nothing actually. So if I want this file or program to be executed, I save the file, then I come into my terminal here, which you can get by using Control Shift then backtick on your Windows computer. So this terminal here, I'm going to work with it by saying, okay, I want to execute this file. I can just say to execute a file, I use the word Python, then the name of the file script.py. I'm trying to say, okay, Python should execute the whatever code that I have in this script, which will return hello world, because this print function is telling the Python interpreter to return. But if I don't want this to happen, and let's say for instance I want something else, let's say mouse is equal to 26.2, then I have print, or let's say mouse should what multiply 1.62. This is just a simple data. I press enter, and I save my file. Coming back here to run this same program, which is saved in the script.py file that I have here inside this folder that I working with, inside this directory Python program. I can just go back and say, okay, Python, run this program again that's been stored in the script file. It will do nothing. Nothing is displayed to the screen. I just have my prompt back to me. If I try to do it again, it is still the same thing. Nothing is displayed because I'm not actually informing the interpreter to show me something. But I can do that using the print function. If I can just say print, it should print out whatever I have as my mile, then I multiply it by 1.62. I save the file and I come back here to run the code again by using Python and or file again. So by pressing enter, it returned the value to me, 42.44. Yeah, it is different from interacting with the with um, Python interpreter directly, because the interpreter will output whatever you want immediately as long as it is an expression. But in a script mode, you have to inform the interpreter to do something before it actually does that. So let's look at um, storing this, because I say Python execute statements line by line. So if I have print 1 and I also have variable x and print x, let's see what the output will be. So coming down, I say okay, print 1, and I say okay, x should be 2. Then I also say print whatever I have as my x, and I save it. So this should just return the value 1 and also the value 2 to the screen. So I save my file, I come back here to run the program by saying python script.py. By typing enter, it return 1, which is the output of print 1, which will return 1. And here I already saved this value 2 to the variable x, and I say print x, which means print whatever value I have stored in my x variable, which is 2. That's why it returns 1 2 without this line of code here. Okay, thanks for staying with me up to this moment. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.